So I was like, what are you talking about? What's up, fam? It's your boy Demuir here, purveyor of all sounds underground. Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel today, where I'll be discussing the topic of finding the sweet balance between monitoring what you hear versus what you see on the screen of your DAW. But before I jump into things, what I need from you is that SLC. Hit subscribe, like, comment, and more importantly, hit the notifications bell to stay in touch with the new video that we have up and coming. All right, so let me just give you a gist of why I started this topic. It came from, as a result of my weekly production streams that I do on Patreon. And I did the stream, and I was in a rush while doing it. But people caught a glimpse of this particular cut here. So let me play it to you. All right, I'm going to stop there. So for some of you, depending on your ears, you might be luckier than a number of us. You probably heard a really high frequency in there. I eventually sent this track off to Josh Butler for Origins Records because I've had such a great experience in dealing with this label. And another student of mine on my Patreon who's in my VIP program, we do monthly one-on-ones, he messaged me right after seeing the weekly production stream, and he's like, yo, I hear this crazy high frequency and I can't unhear it because it just, he was like, my ears are just drawn to it. So I was like, what are you talking about, bro? How, I didn't really hear that. And again, mind you, I was in a rush when I put the weekly production stream together, and I'll come back to that point, as you can see here in my notes on the screen. But I'll share a little bit of, what it was they heard. And Josh also heard it as well. So I was like, geez, how could you hear that? And then it just brought me back to, it's very important to balance what you see versus what you hear. So, because when I did the stream, I wasn't really hearing that high frequency because I had it on top of hats, just as I played to you just now. So why don't I just jump into the first point, which is it's very important to balance what you see visually and what you hear. So had I not been rushing and taking the time, I would have seen, like, in this frequency here, let's play it again. I would have seen, wow, there's something crazy going on here around this area. And I was so focused on getting out, the sub information, and I did catch it here on console 1. I got rid of all of the sub information when I was doing the production stream, but I was almost like, let's play it again. Let's see what comes up. My bad. I need to turn on console 1. So let's go over to pad 3. Console 1, there we go. And we'll see, yeah, like I was hearing the sub information in there. And I'll just pull it back. So you should be able to hear that subby stuff that I was hearing before. But it was almost like I completely ignored or just did not see this piece right here. And that is an annoying high frequency. I'm going to throw on my headphones, to sort of hone in on the point. So, because, obviously you see it visually, but, in terms of what I was hearing, I was just so focused on the sub stuff. So let's listen to this and see if I can isolate the thing that Josh and my student were hearing. And some of you might be hearing this right off the bat. So here it is. And I'm just going to do, you know, typically when you see stuff like this, and this is what I mean by finding the balance visually, even if you're not really hearing it, you should just see what's going on in there. So typically you just do that with a sweep or boost. And I'm not going to go too high here because it's such a high frequency, it'll kill your ears if played very loud. And that's what it is. It looks like, you know, what I typically see when I'm sampling a record, and I would actually go into those areas because that's what a pop looks like on a sampled record, old record, and I would just remove that anomaly. The other thing is, when you see something like that, I had it in mono conversion. Listen to it. What's it doing in stereo? And there you go. You can hear it. So I'm going to do it again. And I can hear it really hardcore on the right side. Let me make sure. Yeah, that's the right channel. And it's crazy. So when you see stuff like that, it's important to shave it out because you're killing somebody's ears. So that's what I did eventually, is I just got what I wanted out of that sound without that annoying high frequency. And of course the sub that I heard easily, because I so focused on that when I was doing the weekly production stream. Now I'm gonna check it in console 1, and it's off again, so I need to turn it on. We are in stereo, but let's move back to mono. Now the sound is still there, it's just centered. So I just need to cut out that high piece, and that annoying signal is no longer there. And I'm just going to check it against the other instruments. I feel it. So perfect. That's exactly what I wanted initially, but because, you know, for whatever reason, I missed that obvious visual cue that there's something crazy going on in the sound. So very important to find that balance. I will always default generally to what I hear, but I completely missed it on that occasion. The other thing, and point number 2, the thing to watch out for is, if you're like myself, I like to generally protect my ears when I'm working. So I tend to work at a dB level of 60 to 65 dB in my monitoring situation. And if you got an Apollo Twin, it's basically one little bar, green bar, in terms of volume that you see. And when I really want to check it and bang it out, I'll turn it up. But generally, if you're mixing in low volumes, you won't hear stuff like that. It's a piercing, high frequency sound. But sometimes, you know, I'm an older dude, my ears over time weaken, even though I'm wearing earplugs and stuff, I just couldn't hear that at that very low volume. And I don't know if Josh and my student were listening to it at a louder rate, and that allowed them to hear what was going on. But again, if you're mixing at a low level, just keep that in mind. So when you're getting ready to finalize the mixes, you know, just turn it up for about 4 to 5 minutes, make sure you're capturing everything. Thankfully, I didn't really have to do that in this case because those 2 guys told me straight up. Third point is pay attention to what's going on. Like, how could I have missed the craziness that was going on? I'm not going to subject you to the, you know, the obvious craziness that was going on in that frequency. I'm actually going to mute it, but for the purpose of just seeing what was going on, like, look at this. It's crazy. You know, when you see those needles in there, I call them needles in a mix, you need to shave it out. And the other thing is make sure you're using the steepest level of slope. I want 48 dB on that. And when it comes to the chain here, just to make sure I got it surgically, not only did I do a similar EQ in console 1, let me show you here. shaving out the low, shaving out the high too. I just added another EQ, which is Logic Stock EQ, and did something similar just to make sure I got the thing out of the mix. And then I just put an LFO tool just to give it a bounce, because that's what I originally wanted in the sound itself. So absolutely important to pay attention. The fourth point here is to listen to people. There was a time in my career I was quite ignorant and I thought I knew everything. So when I get feedback like this, I wouldn't treat it like these are people that care and are holding up a mirror to you to say, hey, here's where you can improve. I would actually say, whatever, you don't know what you're talking about, and I just ignore it. So imagine if I ignored what they were hearing, even though I couldn't hear it at the low mix volume levels I was doing it at, So make sure you're paying attention and listening to people in the process. It will help your overall balance of, the stuff you see visually and confirming what you hear from an auditory perspective. And last but not least, this is the thing that got me into trouble in the first place. And thankfully it wasn't a final pre-master sort of tutorial. It is the whole point of not rushing through stuff. I was rushing through this because I was pressed for time. I had to do the weekly production tutorial. So I was like, let me take the sketch and arrange the song quickly and then do a meeting. And that's what got me into trouble. I completely missed what was going on in the craziness of that high frequency. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts in finding the sweet balance and the tools that will help you find a sweet balance between what you are hearing versus what you're seeing visually, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. Bottom line is you're going to come out with a great product at the end of the day. Let me know your thoughts on this video. I'd love to hear it. I usually join a conversation within 48 hours of posting these videos, so please comment and do your thing. And last but not least, do not forget to join our Discord community. It's absolutely free. There's a lot of aspiring DJs and producers in there sharing feedback, tools, and tips, all in the spirit of helping one another become greater than the level that they're at in that moment of time. Much love and respect to you. Peace.